Hey everybody and welcome to Chairman of the Board. Today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Everdell, which is a worker placement, set collection and engine building game for 1 to 4 players. Now before I start, I just have to acknowledge the absolutely beautiful production and artwork that has gone into this game. It is set in this wonderful kind of woodland setting with these fantasy little critters, and they're all building up their little village, and it's absolutely charming. The artwork is phenomenal and just so cute, and it's just really aesthetically pleasing. The game comes with this really cool kind of tree which has this great table presence, but it also serves as a it's quite functional because you keep some cards on there and keep track of where other players are in the game. So from a visual aspect and from a production standpoint, absolutely brilliant. What a wonderful looking game. But more importantly, is the game good? And the answer for me is yes. Basically, as I said, you've got that worker placement side of this game, you've got the engine building and the set collection side of things. And while individually each of those aspects, there's nothing really there that we haven't seen before, but they've come together in a very nice and satisfying package. And I just really like the way that the game does kind of fit the theme really well. You're collecting your resource, but instead of being the usual gold, stone and wood, you've got like the twigs, you've got the little berries, and you've got the little pebbles and stuff. It's just really nicely put together. And I must say, when I first played this, I was kind of thinking, oh, this is like an engine building game, is it? And I couldn't really see how things started to, how things really linked together. But the more I played it, I started to see those links and started to see the kind of amount of mileage you can get out of your cards. And it's very impressive to me how each card kind of does link together in one way or another. There's also a decent amount of planning here. I mean, you are somewhat at the mercy of the cards you have, but you can use those cards in order to plan a few turns ahead. And so you've got kind of like a short-term strategy going forward. Also that helps because you've got this communal board where there's a number of different cards there. So those are up for grabs at any time. So not only are you playing with the cards in your hand and just kind of blind drawing some of them, there is like a communal section, as I said, which you can plan for. I really like that about the game. I love the way that you can get a lot out of your turns. So I mean, even after you've placed your workers to get your resources, etc. You can kind of play your cards in a very cool way, which each one triggers another. You've got this kind of Seven Wonders-esque way of drafting new cards by basically using an action on them, which lets you pick up other cards for free or play other cards for free, which is a really cool thing. And more games could make use of that. I really like that. I also love the way that the cards that you don't want can be used as a currency as well, because there are spots on the board which lets you cash in cards to get kind of wild resources, or let you do other things such as cash in a bunch for a load of points and stuff like that. So I really like that. The cards that you don't want, you're not stuck with, you can use them efficiently. Really good. Something that really kind of threw me with this game, and that I really haven't seen before at all, is the way that the game actually plays, like the flow of the game almost. Because with almost every game that you've ever played, you'll do phase 1 of the game, everyone will get to there, phase 2, everyone will get to there, phase 3, everyone will get to a certain point. But with this one, you kind of play at your own pace. So I could still be in phase 1 of the game while my opponent is kind of going into phase 2 or phase 3. Very strange concept. And it does have an element of importance because at some points in the game you want to get your engine building as much as possible, because when you go into the next round, all those cards and buildings and critters are going to trigger, and you're going to get loads of resources in return. But if you haven't done so much of that, then you won't get so much of a reward back. But you can get an advantage by going into the next round quicker by getting a couple of free drafts from the center, so you can get first dibs on an amount of cards. So there's a good little push and pull mechanic there. I really like that. Something that I haven't seen before, and really interesting. I like some of the blocking that goes on the board because, as your normal worker placement games, you do block certain spots. But with this one, as I said, you can kind of use cards in your hand instead of placing workers on your turn, which can really throw other people because they might be really relying for you to take those workers back. And basically they can't get to do what they were planning on doing. So really, really cool way of kind of holding out and trying to stall as much as possible. So getting your play or stopping other players from jumping in on those spots that you want to go back to. Very, very good. So yeah, loads of kind of meaningful decisions here. You've got to be kind of efficient as possible. Very satisfying when you pull off certain links and get more and more out of your cards. I like it a lot. Balance of the game, pretty good. Basically, as I said, you are going to be somewhat at the mercy of those cards, but there is quite a bit of mitigation there. You've got a lot of play, and you're never going to be disgruntled that your opponent was much luckier than you were, at least in my opinion. Mechanically, as I said, some very, very kind of tried and tested mechanics here, but the blend of them is very well executed. I will say, for the kind of feel of the game, it did tend to feel a bit long for me. It was a 4-player game, so that is that maximum player count, but so maybe it would be a bit improved with that 2 or 3 player count. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't really overstaying its welcome, but it did feel on the longer end of things, kind of pushed its limits to how long it should stay on the table, but no real problem there. Uptime, no issue at all. Sorry, downtime, I should say, no issue with downtime. Works at a pretty nice pace. You can plan your turns somewhat while other players are playing, so plan ahead, no real issue there. Replayability, you've got a hell of a load of cards in the game, absolutely loads of different ways you can go, different sets you can collect. So you're going to try different things each time, trying to fulfill those different, they're called events cards, where you can kind of get bonus points at the end. You've got some end game strategies you can go for, so there's loads of different routes you can follow. So loads of things to see, loads of things to explore. As I said, player interaction, pretty good. Not only with blocking, but you can actually use other players' buildings in their own little city. You can actually place your workers on them. And placing your workers on them will kind of give you rewards, but it also might give them an award, a bit like Lords of Waterdeep in that respect. I like that about this game. As I said, looks-wise, cannot fault it. Beautiful to look at. The resources are lovely. The little wooden meeples, absolutely beautiful. You've got the little squirrels, the little hedgehogs, the little mice and stuff like that. Absolutely gorgeous. Really, really good. Quality good also. And as I said, I love the theme here. Who could not love this theme? It's just so cute and just so accessible. And honestly, if you don't like it, you don't have a heart, because it's absolutely, absolutely lovely to look at. Really, really cute and nice. Setup time, no issue here at all. Basically standard game. I'm just going to move on because no issue there. So yeah, overall, I really like the game. I think it really does. It did kind of stay up to the standards people were holding of it or hoping of it. And not only absolutely beautiful to look at, and a gorgeous table presence, lovely artwork, great components. And to be honest, going down the line, that probably is what I'll remember this game for. Just that pure, lovely look of it. But a solid game here. Really, a good design, a solid design. No complaints, really. Enjoyed the game. I'll happily play it again. Yeah, good game. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Everdell. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.